much. I know they're repping him at guard in the NFL. How closely do you follow that, and have you been in contact with Drew? How are things going with the Cleveland Browns for those who may not know?
Well, I think it's going good. He thinks he's doing a good job, and he got a lot of reps this last game. And I know the game versus the Colts were huge because that was a playoff defense a year ago, and they really wanted to see what he could do. They got him in a lot of different positions, and so I think the thing with Drew is he will continually get better. Like, he is the ultimate exactly what a coach wants. He's not going to be distracted, and he's good enough. He just needs the reps, and so I think he's going to I think he can have a career. I really do. He's got to stay healthy, but I think he can make it to where, make 4 or 5 years in the league. I really believe that.
What do you think the biggest challenge for him will be moving from tackle to guard?
Well, I just think it's just easier than tackle. Got all the space out there, and you got all these guys that run 4-4, and inside it's like a phone booth. What do they call it? The mosh pit and a phone booth. I mean, you're just constantly teeing off on large human beings, and so I think. But that's his skill set. That's when he's great. And I just think he needs to continue to do what he's done his whole life and just get better and humble and hungry.
Well, one of the guys that he was blocking for the Red Hawks last year is probably the biggest name that is not coming back this year, and that is Marquez Terry.
Yep.
He led the Ohio Valley Conference in rushing. He was the player of the year, the offensive player of the year, the only player in the league over 1,000 yards rushing. But, boy, you really have some depth on paper at running back. We saw Mark Robinson last year, really had some big moments for you. Zion Custis, as a freshman, was an impact player, and we didn't see much of Geno Hess, but what we did see in that Tennessee Tech game, you thought, wow, this guy's really good too.
Yeah. Well, the thing that you got to have is depth, as you found out last year. We go out and first half we lose Quez against Eastern Kentucky on a kickoff return, and so you got to have depth, and that's the big piece. We lose him, and not only was he a great football player, man, he was a great teammate and did a lot of things behind the scenes too, so we lost that. But I feel good. I think we have some good depth. They played well when they were in there, but they also weren't playing 60, 70 snaps like they will now. So that's kind of what's going to be fun on Thursday. There's a lot of players there that you're really looking forward to just see when the lights come on, how they perform.
Mark Robinson is, at least right now, listed number 1 on the depth chart, and he's a very different type of running back than Terry was.
Yeah, I mean, he's a lot bigger, so he's 40 pounds heavier, but a good player in his own right. And, we just got him in August last year, so he was still trying to learn the system and everything and having a full year. He's improved himself in the weight room, and his numbers have improved. So I think he's going to have a great year.
If you have an established program and you've been involved in a lot of those, the perfect scenario is let's redshirt all the freshmen. Well, that didn't happen with Zion Custis. You had to play him, or you decided to play him, and, boy, the stage wasn't too big for him, was it?
No, he comes from a really good program, and high school football in Georgia is awesome. But his family, his brother plays at Ole Miss. Like, he's a football guy, so that doesn't bother him at all. And high school football,
but again,
in
we got him in
awesome.
August.
But his family, so there's just getting good within the offense and all those type of things. So I think they're both going to have really good years.
Now, Custis is similar. I'm not saying he's Marquez Terry, but he is a similar runner to Terry, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's like, hey, compare your daughters. I mean, they're just two different human beings. Like, I don't think that's fair. So, I mean, Zion, first of all, you look at him, you think he's small. Okay, that's like your initial impression. But when you get up and you look at him, he's a big back. He looks like he can walk faster on his arms than his legs. I mean, he has got pipes. And then Mark, you look at and you go, oh, my God, this guy's a power back. But really, he's kind of got the shifty and the gear too. So, they're just different. I know they're going to be fun. Like, you watch them and you'll be like, man, this guy's fun to watch.
And tell us about Geno Hess, because he very limited exposure with the new red shirt rules. He did get to play, played in 4 games, he played some special teams for you, but all of a sudden you're able to red shirt him even though he did play 4 games. Tell us about him, because he put up some monster numbers in high school in Peoria, Illinois.
He's the same way, man. He's really improved himself in the offseason. He's put on 10 pounds. He's a guy that is probably the best at breaking tackles. Like, he's really hard to tackle. I mean, his lower half looks like just a Mack truck. And so he's hard to wrap. He's got good vision. All 3 of them's got really good ball security too. So, we should get a lot of production out of that group.
And then, of course, bringing back an all-conference quarterback. How much of a luxury is that to bring back Daniel Santa Catarina, who not only showed leadership qualities, playmaking ability, and minimalization when it comes to turning the football over.
Yeah, he really did a great job managing games. And, it certainly makes you sleep a lot better. Everybody's like, hey, who's the backup? I was like, hey, Belichick doesn't have a backup, all right? So there is none. Like, you're going to need to give me a blankie and some warm milk, like, if something happens. Like, it's just, like, what do you want me to tell you? Don't get him hurt.
And we remember last year in the opening game, he took the cheap shot. Boy, did your life kind of pass before your eyes when you saw him being carted off the field game 1?
It was. I mean, you were there. I don't know, but can you just feel the energy just drop out of the floor at our sideline?
I think you were driving to tie the game right before halftime, weren't you?
Yeah, it was tough, and that's the game of football. Like, we know something bad's going to happen Thursday. Like, something will not go as planned on Thursday, and we got to be able to adapt and adjust. And at the end of the day, the only thing that matters is the mission, and that's to win this football game.
And if you're going to be a successful quarterback, you better have some weapons.
Yeah.
And you've got an All-American wide receiver. Does it seem like Christian Wilkerson is a senior already? He's an All-American wide receiver. Coach, he has just gotten better and better and better every single season. Already 23 career touchdown receptions. He could break the school record if he has a big year.
Yeah, and just super proud of him. Like, he has really challenged himself both on and off the field. He did a really cool internship with Robinson Construction in the summer. That's hard, we're getting up in the morning early, all morning long. Then he goes, puts the hours in on that. But the thing that I'm probably the most proud of him is the run after catch. He's always been a big play guy. You throw it up and he goes and catches it. But I'm like, you're 205 pounds. Like, no one should be able to tackle you either. And I don't know if you remember, like, UT Martin, he caught the bubble, took it 50. What was it, Tennessee State? It was like a 3rd down. They hit him. He broke those tackles and took it through. Like, that's what I'm really hoping he gets it, because you're not always just going to be able to throw it 60 yards down the field. We got to get you the ball and get some run after catch. And he crushed it that way towards the end of the year.
And for those who don't remember, the game that Coach Tuke was referencing against UT Martin, a school record 263 yards receiving. That's a good day passing for a quarterback, not let alone a wide receiver with receiving yards.
Yeah, that was a wild game. But they were going to stop Quez, and so they were going to play one-on-one out there. And, of course, we had the protection too, but then Santa delivered the ball, and he made just a tremendous performance.
Our Santa delivers before Christmas.
Yeah, good one.
So Zach Smith was such an impact guy for you last year, Coach. Just a sophomore a season ago, really started to emerge. He's an excellent punt returner. You can really get big plays on special teams. And I know he's been kind of nursing a little bit of an injury. Do we know the status of Zach Smith? Do you think we're going to see him Thursday?
Don't know. So they're going to run him around tonight and let us know. Okay.
So in a situation like that, oftentimes do you game plan, and you may get a nice surprise, but do you game plan and say, hey, we're not going to have him, next man up?
Yeah, we always plan that, he's not there, because if he's there, it's good. If he's not there, we got to be able to still move the football. And so we've been planning like that.
Yeah, it's always fun when you're able to award a guy a scholarship when he's a walk-on, and you've got a guy like that who really had some big moments for you last year, Coach. Colby Cornett, who was a high school quarterback. He wasn't even a wide receiver.
Yeah.
Walks on here. You end up giving him a scholarship, and he had some impact plays during last season. Is he a guy that can impact the football game this year?
Yeah, absolutely. We feel great about him. He's in the slot, and he's another advantage that, if they do come inside and try to take the run game away, a lot of our RPOs, we feel like we can whip it out to him, and he's sneaky fast. His nickname's the Joplin Jet.
The Joplin Jet.
Yeah, he looks like he's a hillbilly from wherever, but the dude can roll. He's got, you're a hillbilly. You got the boots with the American flag, the square toe, like. Yeah, right?
Big belt buckle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But this guy can roll, but his boot game's outstanding. I'm kind of jealous.
Like the boot game. And a guy who I know you never try to hype players. That's one thing that we have seen. This is your 7th year here at SEMO, and you never
Is it 7th?
Is
This is
it
my
number
6th
6?
season,
Number
right?
6. I'm sorry. Number 6.
But
So
you cut me short, man.
So we're going for the extra point next
I
year,
guess.
7. So when you look at guys who you've kind of felt, hey, they really have a chance. You're not hyping them, but they have a chance. You mentioned Aaron Alston.
Yeah.
Tell us about him, because his physical gifts are pretty impressive. I mean, he's listed at 6'4", 210. He's got long arms, big strides.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit more, because he's number 1 on the depth chart.
Yeah, he's another X-style, wide out like Christian, and just a great football player. I mean, he blocked punts. He tackled people last year, and people don't really know him, but he had a huge impact last year. And then I think you'll see, like, the guy is really talented. He's also got, he's obviously big, but he's also got a gear. He can run. He can high point the ball. He's very physical. He's still young, and he's still maturing and growing, but I think he's going to have a great year. I really do.
I don't want to compare him to an NFL guy, but Paul McRoberts was here. He was long and athletic and able to go up and take balls away from guys. Is Alston that potentially type of player?
I mean, like I said, I don't like compare. You just compared it
Yeah.
to Paul McRoberts. You said you didn't like to, but you just did.
Well,
No.
just talking about the ability to maybe go up and make a catch. He's 6'4" with long arms. Is that in his game?
Yeah, he's a great high point ball. He's a deep ball guy, but also he'll be run after catch too. But he's got to learn to block when he's not getting the ball. He's got to make sure he understands the concepts, and he's in shape. And there's just a lot there. But I think people will know his name shortly.
Aaron Alston, sophomore from Brighton, Tennessee. So we talk the offense. We'll talk some defense. The Redhawks have the top defensive player in college football coming back. Zach Hall will talk about that with Coach Tuke. Much more. It's our inaugural 2019 edition of the Redhawks Coaches Show with Coach Tuke. We'll take a timeout from Wings Etc. in Cape on SEMO ESPN.
$5,000 price tag, you get it for half price, $2,500 on sale this Thursday morning, 10 a.m. online at riverradiodeals.com. That's River Radio.
And Radio Network, local weather forecast.
Plenty showers or storms ending this morning as skies will clear this afternoon with sunshine up to 84. Partly cloudy this evening. More showers and thunderstorms likely tonight with another disturbance.
Hawks kick off the 2019 season at 6:30 at Houck Stadium on Thursday night against the Salukis from Southern Illinois University. Carbondale, want to remind you that we will have a coaches show next Monday, despite it being Labor Day. And if you're coming out for lunch, don't forget to check out their daily half-pound lunch specials. They start at just $6.99. And at Wings, etc., here in Cape or in the Jackson location, their food and drink specials occur all throughout the week, including on Mondays, 69-cent wings. They have a terrific kids menu, mom and dad, and family-friendly video games in the dining rooms. They are open 7 days a week, late on the weekends when the games go late. Tonight, it's a 6 o'clock Cardinal game. They open a series. They're the hottest team in the National League. Cardinals are opening a 3-game series in Milwaukee against the Brewers. Cards are in first place by 2.5 games. You want to come out and watch the game? You can do it right here at Wings, etc., the home of the Coaches Show. Coach Tuke, we talked about the offense. Defensively, clearly things are headlined when you've got the number one defensive player in all of college football at the FCS level. You got to start talking about that guy. And your thoughts on the ability not only to bring Zach Hall back, but when you're a national player of the year in any category, it seems like that always goes to seniors. Doesn't happen very often to juniors, but it did happen to Zach Hall, and it was well-deserved.
Yeah, exactly. And, I think that having a National Player Award is a feather in the whole defensive cap, the 2018 team, because I know if it wasn't for those D linemen, Zach wouldn't have had those type of plays. And so I know they were fired up about that award, and it's pretty impressive. I've coached linebackers my whole life. I mean, I was kind of my deal. But if you look at our 4 linebackers, the production, just look at the numbers of Omardrick, Swift, Devin, and Zach is staggering, right? And so, one nice thing about the 3-4 is you could take advantage of lots of different things. They can rush the pass or drop and a lot of those type of things. And I think we have a chance to be really good on defense. I do. I mean, we got to stay healthy. And we got to stay hungry, but I believe in those guys. I really do.
And on the defensive side of the football, one of the things that made you so successful last year was opportunistic defensive plays made. You led the nation in turnover margin. You led the nation in interceptions, and a lot of those interceptions came from linebackers, not just DBs.
Exactly. Well, that's a program deal is the turnover margin, and both offense and defense, and just the way you play defense has changed. People that want us to talk about yardage just don't get it anymore. I mean, that's not what defensive football is all about. It's all about situations and takeaways. I mean, and you look at how many touchdowns we score, or the greatest number we had is we had 100 more points off of turnovers than anybody else. Like, I think our opponents was like 44 points off of turnovers, and we scored 144. Like, that's a net of 100 points off.
That's unbelievable.
Like, there's no other stat that tells our story, right? Like, it's right there. And so these guys, we got to get them to buy into that same thing as we had last year, a culture of trying to take the ball away.
And that has been one of the things that you've emphasized over the last several years. Clearly, you've made such an emphasis. How sustainable is that? I'm not saying you're going to lead the nation again in turnover margin, but is that semi-sustainable?
Yeah, it better be. It better be. We better be good at it this Thursday and the rest of the season. I mean, it's just so critical, and so it's not something – there's not been a coach that's ever had a whistle on that didn't talk about this. But it's not just talking about it. It's more than that. It's in our DNA. Like if a freshman come out and he's flagging the ball, you got a other guy going, hey, you better get that fixed or you won't be here. Like that's the kind of culture of you got to have where you're not turning it over and you're creating takeaways. And one is you also got to know that just because we got everybody back doesn't mean those habits are built.
Yeah.
So you got to retrain those habits of taking the ball away and all those things. So even me, you know, you gotta continually try to get better. We got this turnover pole on the sideline. We got the Infinity Gauntlet glove. Are you a Marvels guy?
Yes.
You know Thanos?
Yes. He was
He's
a bad
got
guy.
Yeah, so he's got this glove, right? So we got the same glove. We Red Hawked it up, and so you can't touch the button without the Thanos glove because your hand will disintegrate. But if you get a takeaway, you get to wear the glove. You put the deal, and the Blues horn comes off, and a red light comes off, and we go crazy on the sidelines. But also, if we score off a sudden change, we do the same thing. And so, again, you're trying to create that culture of that's what it's about, so the focus is all on that. It's not about the glove or the horn. It's about driving the things that win.
But those things, especially for these young athletes,
oh yeah.
When Miami established the turnover chain a couple of years ago, I mean, that took off like wildfire, and that you have implemented something similar in your program, and you should. You're the best in the nation at turnovers. Yeah. That's got to excite guys.
Yeah, that's a part of being good as a coach because you got to relate to them. Like I didn't even know what the Thanos glove or the Marvel movie was, and I heard these kids talking about it. Like that's what they're watching. Yeah. That's what I need to use to make sure that we get them on board. Like I'm pretty sure they'd be bored with anything I like. And so that's what you got to be able to do is to get their attention. And nowadays, you know, with the internet and social media, it's hard to get and keep our athletes' attention. Like they're just easily distracted. And so you gotta game plan that just like anything else.
How about your defensive line, Coach? Because when you first got here, boy, you did not have the horses. Mm-hmm. You didn't have the size and strength. I remember your first couple of times playing Jacksonville State. You're like, man, we got to make some changes. I mean, they could just run right over us. And man, have you made changes? Yep. Not only did you beat Jacksonville State last year, you beat them by 3 touchdowns. And on that defensive line, you've got some dudes up there, and then you've got some dudes that are backing up the dudes. Yeah. I mean, you've got depth on that defensive line, and you have for a couple of years now.
Yep. That's the key. I mean, the first lesson is we got to get better in O-line and D-line, and we're still getting better in the O-line. They've been harder to find. But defensive line, we got good depth. Coach Kuhn, who's now a head football coach at Dodge City,
and you had to be thrilled for him.
Oh, yeah. And, he did a great job recruiting his room and coaching them. And then we brought in a guy that actually played for Coach Kuhn, who was at Missouri State's now our D-line coach, Jerron Williams. And he's done a great job. Got good depth, and we need depth and keep rolling them out. And so I'm excited to see those guys play because I think they're pretty good. But again, we need SIU to get here so we can find out just how good we are.
You were a coach, linebackers coach at SIU from 2001 to 2007 under Jerry Kill. Jerry Kill now the athletics director, obviously, at SIU. Bryce Saya, your defensive coordinator, was also there from 2004 to 2007. And now you're going up against your former school. Last year they installed the wheel. And you guys are in possession of the wheel. How big of a thing is that for your guys, the wheel? Because I know when we first talked about it, when it was first established, I know you really love the idea.
Yeah, I mean, who doesn't like a rivalry, a trophy game, right? Like, who doesn't love that? Our kids have bought into it. Same thing, we have each position group will take it around to practice this week, and and that's what I said. Try to take them back to last year and imagine the emotion you felt in that win. Well, use that emotion to drive all the hard work this week and getting prepared to go play this opponent. And so I think it's been awesome. It's been awesome for the rivalry. It seems like it's brought in fans, too, and given us something to talk about. And it's been nothing but good.
They throw the ball a lot in the Ohio Valley Conference, Coach, and the guys you've got in the defensive backfield, you've got a lot of experience back there. Your corners of Shabari Davis and DJ Freeman. Freeman, who had a big interception against SIU in the game last year. And then Al Young also going into his senior year. Does it seem like it's the senior year already for Al Young?
No, it's crazy.
It goes quick, doesn't it?
It sure does. Super proud of him and all our DBs. I think this is probably the talented or the most talented DBs that we've had since I've been here. Windows are tighter. They're able to get the ball out a little sooner, and the communication's been great. Tackling's been good. The problem with tackling, you don't really know until game day because we don't tackle a lot.
Right.
But we try to get good at tackling without taking people to the ground. So just pursuit angles and all those type of things, being physical, but also just the opportunistic, like you talked about. When that ball's tipped or ball's overthrown, we got to get it. Or we got to come in second man strip, we call it. If you're second or third to the pile, you got to try and get it out. So those guys have developed a lot of good skills. I'd say Al's probably our best at it. He's really good with the football, whether it's punching it out and all those things. So I hope this will be a great year for that group.
We've talked about depth at running back with this team. We've talked about depth on the defensive line. How do you like your depth in the defensive secondary?
Love it. I mean, it's good. And I think where you'll see the difference is our special teams. I really felt like we kind of started running out of bodies towards the playoff run, getting hurt. And,
right.
We're a lot deeper with those type of bodies. Linebackers and DBs are great special teams guys. And so hopefully we'll have more depth on the special teams. And, we need to talk about our specialists, but we feel like we have good specialists. But those other 10 have a lot to do with it too.
Returning kicks, you have been good ever since you got here. You've always had an impact kick returner. And last year, I don't know if you knew it at the start of the year that Zion Custis was going to be an impact guy there, but he certainly was. I don't know how that Eastern Illinois game turns out because they were making a push there. That was a big, big game for you in terms of making the playoffs late in the year. And he comes up with a 97-yard kickoff return for a touchdown. So you've got another impact guy, at least one back there with Zion Custis, who's done it in a big Division I game.
Yeah. I mean, I think it goes back to that same thing is because the other 10 have done a great job, and we're going to have a bunch more good kickoff returners, and just we value special teams. Coach Martin does an unbelievable job, and we're going to try to impact the game that way. It's hard too because Zion's probably not going to be our returner.
Okay.
Because I think we need him on offense, and I don't want those type of shots. And I think we have some other really good ones too. So that's the battle I have at head coach, That's
does Quez getting hurt
yeah.
on a kick return impact your thought on that?
Well, hell yeah, it does. It's about to punch this window right now still. But, that's the thing. Like, hey, do you risk him getting a shot? He returned it to the 50 when he got hurt, and that's like, what do you do? And so one is you have a good roster, so we got a lot of guys that can return the kicks. And we just kind of figure it out as we go. But that's the dichotomy of a head coach is trying to, even though he's great, there may not be as many people can do what he could do on offense. So you may need to save him.
Zach Smith, excellent punt returner, but you've got
and
depth.
Kick returner.
And kick returner, but you've got depth at that position at punt returner.
Yeah, absolutely. Al and Shabari are really good. I think Al can do a lot of good things with the ball in his hands, and so he's going to get that opportunity. Same way with Shabari. They're both very talented.
And the guys who are going to be putting their foot on the football, Jake Reynolds, one of the top punters in the Ohio Valley Conference a year ago.
Yeah, again, I think, it's a team deal. He was the number one in overseas a lot because of our punt system also. But I think he is continuing to improve. One thing I really challenged him at was the special situations, the pooch situation. We had a couple of pooches that was good. He pooched the ball, and we ended up getting a safety versus Jacksonville State. But then there's other times banging out of the end zone and net gain of 22 yards, and I should have went for it then if we can't execute that type of stuff. So
Gotcha.
That's really where we're challenging him is those moments when we need you to make that play to get that ball down inside the 5 or 10. That's where you got to be elite.
A couple of years ago, you struggled at the field goal kicking position. Kendrick Tiller took over last year. He didn't struggle.
Yeah. A lot of pressure, too. He hit some pressure field goals, and he's just such a great human being, has a lot of character. And the problem with field goal kickers is you don't know what to tell them. It'd be like me trying to tell somebody how to swing a golf club. Like, I don't know what he's doing wrong, so, we yell at him until they make it. I mean, that's basically our coaching. And so, he has been a little inconsistent this fall camp, but I know he's working hard, and if this team needs him, he's going to step up and bang it in there for us.
You got some off-the-field things that are going on with the football program as well.
Yeah, I think one thing I'd like to just, it's such a feeling in this community about excited. It feels like college football's in the air, right? And it's in Cape Girardeau, and it's hard. One of the hardest things that when I got to Cape, it was like a box of BBs that spilled. Everybody's going all. You got Cape, you got, just everybody's everywhere. And it finally feels like there's just this alignment to this one big cool thing, which is college football. And I want to give Roy Diamond a shout out. He's the guy that runs Cape Youth Tackle Football League. They had an event this Thursday, and I called him. I said, "Hey, Roy, I need you to change that." And he didn't like hearing that, but he did it. And that sometimes you just, that's what leadership is, and that's what alignment is. Like, we got to get all pulling on the same side of the rope. And I just appreciate him, and I appreciate this community because it just feels like more than ever we're all, more hands make a lighter load. Like, we're all a part of doing this, and it feels so much better. And we're going to have this game called the Impact Game, which is our home game versus Eastern Kentucky. It kind of goes back to I just have this feeling of trying to give back. My high school coach had done so much for me, and I had great parents, but I needed a coach. And I wouldn't be where I am today if it wasn't for a coach. So I want to try to do that, and we're going to have an impact game where people can nominate just people making a difference in the community. It's just all we hear is all these stories about bad things. We need stories about good things, and let's shine a light about all these amazing people. Like, when I got here, I'm just so amazed at how this community and the Boot Hill and all around us they're just so giving and great people to be around. And so I just feel like if we could, kind of shine a light on that, and our players will go play for their honor, and we're going to have some awards and all that stuff, and we're going to get it out there. But if someone's made a difference in your life, or of somebody, I just ask that you get on our website. It's I don't even know what our website is. What is it? GoSoutheast.com/impact and nominate this guy or this person, because I want, let's tell these amazing stories, and we already have. We got several players that bring a tear to your eye when you hear their story, and it's just any interaction you have, you just realize, any interaction, you have impact. You leave a little bit something with the people you interact every day, and I'm fired up about this game, and hopefully we can just make this into a community type thing in Cape County and, all through there, that this is a big deal and a lot of fun, and people get behind it.
6:30 kickoff against the Salukis coming up on Thursday. Red Hawk Walk at 4:30. And for those who have not been there for the Red Hawk Walk, tell us a little bit more about it.
Yeah, it's just after a pregame meal, we walk through there, and we want you to get excited, and those kids love it when you're there.
In front of Houck Stadium,
Yeah,
where
in
the
front of Houck,
tailgating's
they
going.
closed the road. Brady Barkey just told me that he's going to excuse anybody from work. So if your boss says you can't, he just told me, hey, I got you. So if your boss has a problem with you getting off work, just get a hold of Brady Barkey. He said he'll handle it all. We want you there. Get ready to roll, right? Big-time college football here on Thursday night. Like, let's go.
And if you're bringing kids to the game and maybe they have not been to a Red Hawk game before, I think there are going to be people that maybe have not been to a Red Hawk game recently or may not have been to a Red Hawk game before that will be at this game. The kids can actually come down on the field to run the team out. Tell us about the Rock and Lock.
Yeah, we do that. I think it's 5 minutes before the game, or they probably get them down there earlier or whatever. But that's a signature moment. You got all the emotion, and if you get there and they get to take the field with us. The other neat thing about that, all new freshmen are going to take the field too with us. So all newcomers to the university, they're going to run out on the field, and then I think we're going to get the student section to do the Lock and Rock. I'm undefeated in that.
You're undefeated with
getting to the 50.
Okay.
So my wife and I,
are they under
she's not a
strict
fan.
instructions? I mean, what's going to happen if somebody beats you to the 50? They're probably going to be running gassers, right?
Well, I try to keep it on the down. I don't know if they think it's a race, but I think it's a race. I was 12-0. My wife, it bothers her. She thinks I need to stop doing it, but we did it. We did the mock scrimmage, and I came in second. The guy that had the flag beat me out, so I got to make sure I'm ready for Thursday night.
All right, and that is going to be just before kickoff down on the field, the Rock and Lock. We're going to take one final timeout. We're going to talk about the Salukis. They went 2-9 a year ago, but don't let that record fool you. We'll fill you in much more on that. Just exactly what are we going to see from the Red Hawks opponent on Thursday. We'll talk about SIU when we come back. Red Hawks Coaches Show, the inaugural edition right here at Wings Etc. on SEMO ESPN.
In action, which means it's time to tailgate. Join us at the Coalfeld Distributing River Radio Tailgate Party presented by JSC Surplus August 29th when the Red Hawks take on the SIU Salukis. Get your tailgate tickets at Little Caesars in Cape and Jackson, Supercuts in Cape, and Andy's Frozen Custard in Cape. Thanks to our tent sponsor, Armstrong Outdoors. It's the Coalfeld Distributing River Radio Tailgate Party presented by JSC Surplus and SEMO ESPN.
Why advertise with River Radio? Let's ask Tony Thompson of EBOMD.
I almost see it being an unstoppable medium for us to use. We always ask our patients when they come, how did you hear about us? Through the ads on the radio. It has actually taken our business to the next level. Lisa, our rep, actually she's become part of our team, part of our family here, and I tell her that all the time.
Call River Radio and ask for me, Lisa Rhodes. I'd love to do the same for your business.
And now, your ESPN Radio Network local weather forecast.
Plenty showers or storms ending this morning as skies will clear this afternoon with sunshine up to 84. Partly cloudy this evening. More showers and thunderstorms likely tonight with another disturbance. Low 71. Morning storms expected tomorrow, then partly cloudy 84. Midweek sunshines in the forecast 82. Richard DeWetta, Get the Weather Channel.
You're up to date with the latest weather forecast right here on the ESPN Radio Network.
This is Mike Greenberg for the best in local sports talk and play-by-play. It's SEMO ESPN.
We'll be right back here in the Cape Girardeau location next Monday. Despite it being Labor Day, we will labor through a coaches show with Coach Tuke, and hopefully we're talking about a big win over SIU and talking about the trip out to Bozeman, Montana, the Week 2 opponent for the Red Hawks. But first things first, and that is SIU, a team last year that went 2-9. But the thing to keep in mind, 5 of those losses were by a touchdown or less, Coach, and in 4 of those 5 losses, they had the lead in the second half of the football game. I mean, they were close in a lot of those games.
Yeah, I mean, it reminds me a lot of last year. And I think they bring 10 starters back on defense.
They do.
And so when you listen to Nick and you listen to just media stuff, I think they feel really good about their team. And the thing about a rivalry, it doesn't matter. You look at the history of this game, it's close. And so you could throw whatever out the window, and it's probably going to be a 1 to 2 possession game. And so we got to bring our A game.
I think the odds makers have you as a 6-point favorite. I know you don't care about that stuff, but sometimes fans.
Well, why do you always bring it up then?
I think fans are interested. I think they are.
All right.
Hey, the Red Hawks are favored in this game.
I
think fans kind of like to hear that. Although I've never laid a bet down, but
yeah.
I think it's an interesting talking point since we got to talk as media members. Stone Labanowitz, Coach. That's the new quarterback. It sounds like a Flintstone character, Stone Labanowitz, but he's the quarterback. 5'10", 187 out of a junior college, ASA College in New York. Took a couple of snaps last year against Ole Miss, but really didn't get to play. 2 years ago in junior college, he was 9-1, and he won a 3-man battle for that starting quarterback position. And the guy who's the head coach at SIU, Nick Hill, was a quarterback. He likes this kid.
Yeah, I mean, obviously they do a great job coaching quarterbacks, recruiting quarterbacks, and so I'm sure Stone's a really good player. I know one thing that we're leading the country in first game matchup quarterback names, right? Labanowitz and Santa Catarina. I mean, that alone ought to get you in the stadium. So
a lot of consonants on Thursday night.
We'll see. I know this number 9, their tailback will beat us before Stone, and so we got to make sure that doesn't happen. And then, just that same thing, if we can get them in 3rd and longs, maybe we can turn them over.
His name is DJ Davis, and he is on the national Performer of the Year watch list for college football performance awards, and he is on the watch list for the National Performer of the Year. He led the best FCS conference in America, the Missouri Valley Football Conference, in all-purpose yards last year. I think he was 4th in the league in rushing, over 1,000 yards, and he had 6 100-yard rushing games, including one against you.
Yeah, very, very good player, shifty. You hit it on the head. You can't guarantee where he's going to be. They throw it to him. He's a returner. So we got to really know where he's at. We got to do a good job of tackling him, being physical.
Another guy, Coach, Jaquan Burton had a school record 100-yard kick return at North Dakota State, the national champs several years running. He's a wide receiver, made an impact, as a true freshman last year, but a multifaceted playmaker, not only a wide receiver but in the kicking game.
Yeah. Nick has always had a bunch of just really good skill players. I mean, he really has. And so, we're going to be challenged. I mean, we really are, but I feel like we're going to be up to it.
Getting invited to the Senior Bowl in college football is a really big honor. They've got a tight end named Nigel Kilby, 6'8", 243. He's on that Senior Bowl watch list, Coach. Last year, 16 receptions, 6 of those were touchdowns.
Yeah.
They like him around the goal line, and he's 6'8", 243.
Yeah. Well, we don't have any 6'8" DBs, so we tried to put each other on his shoulders, but we weren't able to run very fast. So, we got to be physical with him. I mean, that's basically the bottom line is you interrupt the timing, and now the quarterback's waiting, and then now, the D-line could get there. But, he's a challenge, and so we've worked on that all week long, and so hopefully we're able to – we're not going to shut him down, but hopefully we're able to win more than we lose there.
They've got 64 combined starts on the offensive line, 3 starting offensive linemen back, 5 total.
Yeah.
So they're a veteran team there.
Yep.
They were 5th in their conference in scoring offense last year. I mean, scoring points wasn't the problem. It was the defensive side of the ball. And in the game that you guys played, 48-44, you beat them. Unbelievably 10 lead changes in that game last year. And finally, Santa hits Austin Crump for the game-winning touchdown with 25 seconds left. That was an epic game last year.
Yeah, it was.
10 lead changes. You don't hear that very often in a football game.
No, it was as exciting of a game as I've ever been a part of. And it's the moment that we believed. I was looking at my notes before the game that I had last year, and it was we have to believe. And that drive right there, we believed. We knew that we can win, and that was really the first step. Like, the confidence was there, and we had a lot of tight games we won. And that was the moment that our program believed that we were good enough to compete. And, you know, it was just a crazy, awesome night.
One of the reasons you made the playoffs last year is because what you did in your non-conference schedule and winning against SIU. Had you lost that game, I don't think you make the playoffs.
Right.
So you've got 4 non-conference games this year. One of them is a money game on the road against Missouri, an SEC program. You go to Montana State, you host West Virginia State. So you made the playoffs without winning the league last year. If you have another shot at the playoffs, you'd like to win the conference. It just magnifies how really important this game is. We can say, hey, it's a big game, but if you look at the grand scheme of your schedule and a chance for the playoffs and everything, it's a really big game, isn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, it is. There's no denying it. There's this huge. Our players know it. But, you know, what we have to be able to do is manage our emotions. I'm talking to myself. I'm going to hyperventilate just coming out. You know, but we have to make sure we manage our emotions so we don't do something stupid, because that's what happens. You know, you're in your emotions, then all of a sudden you get, late hit penalty. You hit the quarterback, you get a targeting. You know, when emotion's high, clarity's low. Like, we got to be able to focus and not let that emotion drive us so we can not make those mistakes. But it's going to be, man, I hope this game is packed. I hope it's crazy. I mean, I can't wait.
They're bringing 2 fan buses, and they've got their own tailgate location on Pacific Street. So they're bringing a lot of people.
I was hoping they'd send them down to the Mississippi to tailgate on the river or something, but I guess we're nicer than that. But
6:30 kickoff. All right. As we get ready to cut out here, what are you preaching to your team? Keys to coming out and winning this rivalry game.
Play hard, play smart, play together. You know, the most important stat in all of football is you got to be the team that plays the hardest, and then got to play smart. You can't have stupid penalties and turn the ball over, and then play together. We may need to win it 10-9, or we may need to win it 60-48, or we may need a field goal. Like, whatever